Okay, hello everyone. Hope you're doing well. This is our diffuser. This is our final work here. But we can continue and go for some fillets or add some details with the help of surface fillet here, surface fillet tool. And the very important thing here is that you should take care of the CVs here, the CV lines and the CV position. Here we can see a bug here that here in the middle is tangency and here is connecting positional. So this is a problem, and you should select the curve or select the surface if you want. Just select the curve, okay, and move the CV here at the X axis or Y axis. Just move it, because if you don't move this, you can't add a field here. As you see, the tangency is still here, so you should move it again. Move it more and more and more, as much as you get only one line with the positional touch. It's much better here. It's much better, but let me just move it a little bit. So you can move the CV here to have only one positional line, one sharp positional line here, and after you complete it, you can add a fillet here and try some numbers, some random numbers, so you can get the final result. Now let's work on here. We had some details here that we didn't work on it. As you see, it seems like it's very hard, and the modeling way is very different from the whole diffuser, but it's not, because you should try a simple way here to achieve the final complex result. Let me hide the exhaust. And okay, what's my idea? My idea for the modeling is adding a wireframe here with the line. Just let me check the exact position of this. For example, here, okay, the second point here, as you see in the blueprint, just try to find something very approximate here, because our diffuser was not very carefully detailed. Our wireframe is not very good. So another way is duplicating this curve, because we want the same angle. So we have duplicated this one, set a pivot here, move it, but don't forget that you should move it in the y-axis here. Okay, now we have it and it's correct. Now you can extend this with the extend tool and add another line here. Okay, as you see, it's connecting tangency with a fillet, it's not positionally connected, so we have to find somewhere here. This is the wrong way, but let me just try this. Okay, it's here, so it's not positionally connected, so we don't go for the positional connect. Now let me just move this CV very, very, very close to our positionally connected line. As you see, we have it here. It is going through that surface, so you can add a fillet there later. no, we just should move it a little left. It's okay now. Now it's okay. You can move it more. Much better, much better. Okay, and you can add a fillet between these two lines with a random value if you want. You can check the value from the photos, from the reference photos, or just add a random number here, curvature or tangency connection. Okay, here. So 35 for example, or less than this because we are watching that. Okay, let me just copy this fillet and see how much is that. Okay, as you see, it's 25 or something like that. 20, 25 or 27, I don't know, something like that. Anyways, you can also duplicate that fillet, I mean the whole fillet and two lines, and just move it here. But let me just try this way now. You know, you can also click on a fillet when you're selecting that fillet, so you can read that number and add it here. 25, it was 25, and as you see, it's completely set on it. So this was the fillet we duplicated to see what's the difference. Okay, now what you're gonna do is using the draft tool here, or you can do something different. You can also copy all these three and move it on the y-axis and then connect them with a freeform blend tool. So these are two ways to completing this. So I'm gonna use MS draft tool. Here auto update is on, and also the manipulate is on. Okay, click on this, click on y-axis, turn off the spans because it's not important for now. If the spans are important for you, you can just duplicate these curves and move it to y-axis a little more, for example 12 millimeters or 15 millimeters, and then use freeform blend tool to create three different surface with no span. But for MS draft tool we have some spans because we have it has set to automatically give you some spans. As you see, we have a problem here, so MS draft tool is not very good choice for you if you wanna create this surface. So duplicating these two curves is much better thing. Or you can also create two different curves and enter the curves manually. So as you see here, we can do something like this. So we can use freeform blend or connect those points on the other side of the fillet, so we can use the square also, or B-rail, we can use B-rail also. As you see, there is no spans here, we have just three surfaces and there is no crown. It's very good and soft. And as you see here, we have a little problem here, so we can rotate that curve, or I don't know, see it has a very little problem here, but you can edit this and revise that. Okay, why it has happened? Because it has a little tilt, but it's not important for now. You can revise it by spending much more time. Okay, let's move to the next section. We can use MS Draft tool here to intersect those surfaces, but we have also another way. You can add a plane here and project these curves into y-axis on it and then trim it. Let's just, this spans us so much, but it's very soft and okay. See, it's very green and very okay. But sometimes, as you see in the blueprint, it's not, see, it's not very soft and it has a little outside pull, so we can add this here by changing this. And as you see here, we have a little crown, but so try not to move it very much, just move a little bit to get what you want. For example, this is okay for now, or you can decrease the value. For example, like this. So the crown is not so much. So we can also connect these two lines. This is also another way with a line, and you can use for example, a skin here to connect these two surfaces, these two lines. But we can also use the square tool because it has 4 lines. Let me just delete this and create a crown here. For example, here, and add another line here. You can also do something like this. Add a fillet between them and connect them. So let me use this skin again. Chain select and this one. Okay, it's done now. A little crown as you want it, and they are connecting positionally, and it's a good surface here. But you know, the first and second way are much better than this. So we've created this. Now we can go for the fillets. We have created these two surfaces with 2 different ways. And as you see, there is a little problem here because that fillet was very small. So the first way is much better. The first way gives us a better result in curvature, continuity, or I don't know, the tilt of the surface is much better. So let me delete these lines and try the first way. You can also duplicate this surface, but let me, okay, Now it's okay. For example, something like this, but this tilt is not the same as the last tilt, so it's very hard to connect these to create these two surfaces very similarly. So the thing you can do is duplicating that and duplicate it and symmetry to the Z and X plane, so you can move it here and also have the same value, same surface tilt. Now we can intersect them together and trim that. Okay, it has just trimmed. And as you see, it has completely trimmed. Let me just add this to the wireframe through our alter layer. It's a hidden layer. Now I want this also, so okay, and intersect and project, keep. You know, it's very easy. Done. Now we are going for the fillets. You know, filleting is one of the important things in modeling section and also class A surfaces, because soft fillets are very important. You know, some good fillets. So what is the good fillet? Let me just show you with an example. Let me just intersect these surfaces and trim that, because you should intersect all the surfaces you want to go for filleting before adding a fillet. Now I can do the construction history of here if I want it, because it's much better, because you can copy these surfaces and save it in a new layer. Okay, I've choose my surfaces and added a value. As you see, it's okay, but when you click on the shading, one of them is missed. But this is a big bug of Autodesk Alias, because when you pick nothing and click on the shading again, it's okay. So this is not a problem in filleting. Take care of that. Let me try again here. Click on build. Okay. As you see, there are some lines which shows you the fillet is correctly created, so don't worry about that. Just click pick nothing or pick object and click on the shading. Okay, now as you see, I've just created a fillet here in 1mm, but you can also change the fillet value here again, 1.5 for example, or 2 or 3 or anything you want. 1.5 is okay for me, but you can improve it by watching your reference photo carefully. And here you can add another fillet. So what is the way? The good way is choosing all these surfaces. As you see, they are all red. It means they are all aligned tangency. So as you see here, we should select all these fillet surfaces because they are Bezier and they are A class. Or you can uncheck the Bezier surfaces, so you have, for example, 3 surfaces, or you can add the single surface tool, so it's one surface. So for filleting it's much easier for you to click on those surfaces. You see, we are selecting this, all of the fillets are selected, this one, and okay. As you see, we are clicking on this and it's red, so it has just selected. Okay. For now it's okay. We have completely set those surfaces, selected those surfaces. But what we are clicking on these surfaces, as you see, we are clicking on build, but it's not okay. We are changing the arrows, it's not okay. Why? Because it is very hard for the software, because there should be a surface there between those surfaces. So let me just choose one of these and add a fillet here. As you see, it's okay. It has completely added a fillet here, but with some problem. You can just change the number and revise that. As you see, we are changing the tolerance to 0.01, so if you are watching, it's much smoother. Now we can add another fillet here. If you select this middle one, you're gonna have a bad problem here. So as you see, I'm just selecting it and selecting this one, and when I'm clicking on a build, it can't be done. Because why? Because that middle surface, I'm changing the arrows, it's not okay. As you see, it has a bad problem here because that middle surface is intersecting our initial surface positionally. So take care of that. You should add a fillet here manually if you want. Just clicking on these 2 surfaces. Okay. I just trimmed them again. Okay. Now clicking on these 2 surfaces. Now, let's see what happens. Let me just change the value if it is okay or not. No, so I should go to the manual fillet again. So what is the way? How can I add a fillet here? I can use tubular offset tool to trim this surface, or I can also trim that manually. So I'm gonna duplicate this line. Let me see, is there any line here or not? No, so we're gonna intersect and trim it again. Just intersect these 2 surfaces from that initial surface. Okay, now I'm gonna trim. So it doesn't trim because here we have some problem. As you see, the red lines are here. So I can use this curve. You know, that's not a hard way. So I'm gonna set the pivot here. I'm just move it down here. So I can project it into y-axis. Also for this one, for this fillet. And these surfaces, okay. Okay, completely added. Let me just delete this line because we don't need it anymore. Let me trim this. Yes, it has just trimmed because we don't have any red points. And also here we've just completely trimmed that. But here, you know, it's not connected, so you should connect these surfaces. Let me just delete this, add a new line here, or duplicates. No, there is no intersecting here, so I should try this way again. So I'm gonna duplicate, not trimming. Duplicate this, set a pivot here. It's easy. Set it here, you know, it's a repeated action, so it's not very hard. If you do the same all time, so it's very easy for you. Now okay, trimming this one, it's okay. Okay, now what we're gonna do is creating the fillets manually. So the question is how. We can trim this surface also, but you know, we don't have an intersect here, so see, the full surface is going to remove. So I'm gonna add some curve on surface on the other side. So you know, now for now this is not very hard thing, but this is not very hard way, but it's time consuming. So just try to find a solution for it. Okay, our camera has just crashed. Okay, we're gonna extend this and project that into the x-axis on that surface. So let's just delete this. We have a line here, set a pivot here. You can also decrease the degree of your line, but it's not important for now. Extend it and project that. Okay, now we can have two surfaces with different trims. Now let's trim this to two surfaces. You can also use the Detach tool, but let me just copy this. This is also a new way. I'm just trimming this one, or you can trim divide. Okay, they are completely divided, and we're gonna remove the surface in the middle. Now, what are we gonna do? What we're gonna do now is connecting and trimming this surface, and we can also work on this. Okay, let me just check how I can revise this. I can also use the blend tool here, and let me move the blend point with pick blend point and click on Detach tool. Now I'm gonna project it into y-axis and trim it. Discard, and it's okay. Now it's okay for us. You know, we're gonna trim it, we're gonna project that into our z-axis, because the y-axis was not good for us because we just lost that point. Discard. You know, the result is very different now. You know, we have just saved our points. Okay, now we can use freeform blend tool, for example, to connect these surfaces, and as you see here, I'm gonna repeat this. Okay, I've done this, and what we're gonna do is using freeform blend here, let me just turn on the chain select and click on this. Okay, this happened. A very good fillet here. We can also add another fillet here, because those two surfaces are connecting tangentially, so we can add a fillet there and also revise this area. I've done this for this section also, so it's okay. And you can revise this area. My battery is going to die. Okay. We can use align tool to connect these two surfaces, or you can align tangentially or positionally. So let me just connect this with tangency. Construction history is going to delete, and as you see, we are clicking on a screw, and we should increase the V points or V CVs. As you see, the V is increasing. You can also add spans here if you want. So it's not going to create because I told you I should fillet that main surface. You know, because they are completing positionally. So it's not matched. As you see, it's not matched very good, because the main surface doesn't have any fillet. So we should add a fillet there and then continue working on this section. I just wanted to show you, you can't use the align tool if you don't use the fillet tool for the main surface. Let me just revert this. Yes, you can use a fillet for here. For example, something like this. Now it has just created, and you can create another here. Okay, it's done. You know, it is not very good now either, because I should add a fillet between these two surfaces. You know, they are connecting positionally. So I should use fillet for these two surfaces. Something like this. This is a little fillet. You can use a bigger fillet, much bigger fillet. For now it's okay. For fast modeling it's okay because it has a little fillet. Now let me just watch here. The reflection here is good, but here is not good because we should add much bigger fillet, for example 5 millimeters or 10 millimeters. But the full work is something like this. Let me just check out the details here. You know, you can use the tangency fillet here, or as you see I'm using the circular fillet. You can use, as you see in a hardware shading, it's not very good reflection, it's not very good, it has not very good lines. But if you do the fillets in curvature mode, you're gonna have some curvature fillets and it is much better. The result is much better. Okay, now we have completed the things that we had here. You know, it wasn't so easy for us. It was very time consuming, but the whole work is easy. You know, the ways are not very complex ways, but it is very time consuming, but we've done it correctly. At first you don't have any idea for doing this section, but now you know how to add fillets between these surfaces. You know, we have many sharp surfaces here. We can add a fillet here. As you know, they are Bezier surfaces, so we should select each surface. So be careful that select all the surfaces in Bezier surfaces, because you know, I should click all these surfaces, and as you see one of them are not aligned, so I'm gonna revise that. You know, we can't see any line here, but there is a little very small gap between them, so you're gonna align them with G2. add one other V, so it's okay, it's completely tangency. You can also check that with locators, that we're gonna talk about them later. It's okay, it's tangency. There's no very big difference in the hardware shading, but it is completely tangency, so they are all red. This one is yellow, so we have another problem here, so I'm gonna align that again. And don't forget these little surfaces. As you see, when we are selecting, if I select these two surfaces, one of them are going to color the yellow. We don't have a surface here, we're gonna click on this surface, but this one, okay, we have a little surface here, but it's not colored red, and I should add another revise here. We have only tail surface here, it's not a middle surface, so I should just add a line surface. Align tool, just use the align tool to connect these surfaces. We have locators here, pick locators. So, for example, if I have a locator here, I can pick that with our pick locator thing, or I can delete locator here. And how can we add locators? As you see, in the locator section, we can analyze the surfaces to see are they tangency, are they positional, or they curvature. So we have angular division here. If I select one edge and another, we can check the tangency. This is one way, and we have also another locator, for example this edge, and click on enter. It has a tangency. It's green, so there is a tangency here. Now I'm gonna select this one and this one, but no, it's not tangency, and it shows you the division between the surfaces. This method is using for productive design. If you are going to export your surfaces and to a CNC machine or 3D print, you have to check this. You have to check the tangency, check the positional connection. Just check this one, for example. It's fully tangency, so it is okay. So this surface is connected correctly, and you should check all of your surfaces. But some of the tools have this option to check and add your locators. For example, freeform blend or fillets, fillet tool, they have a checkbox for showing locators, so you can uncheck or check them.